Good morning. Thought I would just detail some stuff that I'm reading, some recent pickups. So here we go. This is a title called Amazing Forrest from IDW. It is fantastic. These are really smartly constructed stories. There are multiple stories in each comic. They're funny, some sci-fi. I strongly advise picking this up. Kind of reminds me of a modern take on EC comics. I mean, horror is not the theme in this, but they're just really well made. The art is really good, and the stories are short. You're talking 3-4 pages per story, but it's really good. Check out Amazing Forrest. I love Doc Ock, so I'm happy that he's coming back. I got mixed feelings about where Amazing Spider-Man is right now. Alex Ross, I think, is doing a great job on the covers. Love that cover, especially the face of Doc Ock. The story itself, I think, could be a little bit better. And there's a lot in terms of the relationship between Doc Ock and this woman. I think it's Anna Maria that I think they could go into. I don't know. I mean, I've been collecting Amazing Spider-Man for a long time. I'll continue, but I'm not blown away by the story right now. Maybe different when Doc Ock comes back. That may be a very cool event. We'll see. This was all right. Appreciate the art in this one. I'm enjoying the Civil War story, so I would recommend this one. This is a little bit older. This is Authority. If you haven't read Authority, you really should. I read the trades a long time ago, and I've been collecting back issues here and there when I see them. But it's so... Mark Millar does a great job writing this. He just does a phenomenal job sort of updating the Justice League. It's a Wildstorm title. It's not Justice League, but it feels kind of like an R-rated Justice League to me. Great stories. Matt Fraction and Gabriel Ba doing Casanova. This one is tough to read, I think, out of sequence. I'm familiar with Casanova Quinn, so I know the characters, but this story has to do with time travel, and it's confusing even if you're reading it, I think, straight through. So this may be one I'd recommend getting the trades for this. I like Gabriel Ba a lot, ever since Day Trippers. I love his art. But this is confusing. It's fun. I mean, Casanova's kind of like a sci-fi X-rated James Bond, is the best way I could put that. There's more humor in these than James Bond, for sure. This is the variant cover of Civil War 5. I like this. I really like this issue. I think the Civil War stuff is as good as it can be, in my opinion. Whenever you have, I think, a splash page of multiple superheroes fighting, it kind of feels like it's, familiar territory. But I think they do a good job with the dialogue and the characters. So, and the stuff that happens with Iron Man in here, Tony Stark, in terms of his armor and the way it looks, I mean, that's sort of worth this issue alone. So I would pick it up just for that, how he looks in certain panels, what his armor can do. This is the Death of X variant for Doctor Strange 10. I'm enjoying this. I've been a Doctor Strange fan for a long time. Strange Tales 110 has been on one of my grails, my personal grails. This was okay. I like the fact that they're allowing this story to develop slowly. I'm not going to give anything away, but there's pretty good story development in this. There's enough action that it's a good read. There's some stuff that happens in here that I think is kind of like ridiculous, particularly I don't want to give anything away. Other people taking on some of the emotional strain of being Doctor Strange. I think that's done in a sort of, too clean a way. Hey, let's tie it up in a really clean way, which, I don't know, I thought was a little bit, could have been done better. But overall, I'm still really enjoying this. I'm going to keep reading Doctor Strange. This is first Hellblazer. This may have come out like a month or two ago. I just got around to reading it. It was alright. I love John Constantine. I wasn't sort of blown away by this story, but I think they're just laying the groundwork of what's to come. The art I was not blown away with. I'll probably pick it up here and there, but unless I hear from someone that it's exciting and come back in again, I'll probably wait until I see these for cheaper than cover price. There's just other stuff I'd rather be reading. This is an old Image title. This is Jay Lee's baby. It's called Hellshock. I think it's a 4-issue miniseries. I just read the first one. It's all right. The art is decent. It's kind of like reading immature Jay Lee, if that makes sense. I mean, some of his covers more recently have just been, especially the Wolverine stuff, has just been phenomenal. So it's tough to sort of, I feel, go back in time and check this stuff out. But I don't know. Hopefully the story will be good. I'll let you know how 2 to 4 is when I read them. I love Blackest Night, so I do pick them up when I see them. I think it's a great story arc. This is good stuff. Zatanna's father, I don't know his name, Abracadabra maybe? I forget his name. He comes back. It's good stuff. I think the reason I love Blackest Night so much is just there's constantly hearts being ripped out of chests, and the art, Mark Bagley does a great job. I'm pretty sure Jeff Johns writes some of it, and I like his stuff too, so I'm a huge fan of Blackest Night. So I finally read Next Men. It's pretty good. This is an older title. What's to say? The art's decent. I look forward to finding more of these. My favorite part, I think, is this guy right here. It almost looks like his eyes are carved out. And so seeing that character in different panels was pretty awesome. Old Man Logan. I've missed a couple of these issues, but I like this one. If you're a fan of Wolverine, I think you'll dig this. It's certainly in the vein of Wolverine. And I'm not sure if it was this issue or this issue where one of the panel layouts has a dragon in it. It's done really, really well. I was, quite frankly, impressed with how they did it. There's sort of 2 different timelines they're addressing, and the panels on the bottom are framed by this ornate dragon. It's pretty awesome. I was impressed by that. I really enjoy novel and cool panel layouts. I loved Batwoman when it was like between issues 1 and I think 20. The panel layouts were just phenomenal. They were just like next level stuff, and then they sort of went back to a more traditional format, and I think it sucked after that. This is fun. To me, it's not as good as the cartoon, but it was a fun read. I like Samurai Jack. This is the latest Spider-Man that I read. It's okay. I'm not, there's a reason this is the last one I think that I purchased. I'm just not that huge into it. I like Miles. I think he's a great character, but I'm certainly not like loyal. This is the Adam Hughes variant to Supergirl. I love the cover. I like the cover a lot more than the art inside of this comic book. It's a cool story. She gets her powers back. She's back, but to me, I mean, I think the reason you buy this one is for this Adam Hughes cover. It's one of the few Adam Hughes variants that I own, and I'm happy I got it. I was lucky to see it at my shop when they got it, that day. This is an older Dark Horse title. I'm a big fan of the Terminator, and so I pick up these old Dark Horse issues. I love the Terminator versus Predator stuff. The only redeeming thing about this title, and there's 3 other ones behind it, is there's a couple panels when the Terminator is revealed that is just, they're drawn so well. So the majority of it is a story that I'm sure you've heard a number of times before, seen in movies, but there's a couple panels that make it worth it. Him coming out of the flames in one scene, so those to me make it worth it. Something about this face doesn't quite work for me. I don't know what it is. Something about his teeth. I don't know exactly. The Vision, I gave up on this one. This was the last Vision that I bought and the last one that I read. Spoiler alert, I mean, if you're reading this, you could stop now. I don't understand the motivation. Like, what is going on with his wife killing the dude and not saying anything? Why does the Vision lie about it? I mean, the plot makes no sense. It's interesting, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's the Vision, so that's cool. The art is decent, but the story just doesn't make any sense. So, unfortunately, I've had to cut some comics. You can't, if you're like me, you can't afford everything. So this was definitely one of the ones I cut. That's pretty much it. I hope you have enjoyed these reviews. There's so much good stuff out there right now. I feel like it's a great time to be a comic book enthusiast. So, that being said, have an awesome day and read some comics.